So we are officially recording.
Awesome.
When you see that,
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, we're doing it, babe.
We're doing a damn thing.
Can you believe it?
No, I can't.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are listening, if we're coming through your headphone ear holes, then here's the cool and exciting news. This is a brand new podcast.
Yep.
I mean, as of like 4 seconds ago, we started.
Yeah, basically.
And it's called No Business Like Show Business.
No be like Shobi.
And my name is Preston.
And my name is Nadia.
And we are your host. And if you're joining us because you know us, thank you.
Thank you so much. We hope we entertain you via podcast, like we do in person.
Hopefully. And if you love it and you want to share it, that would be huge, especially starting off.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, I think our overall objective is to entertain, but to also inform.
That's right.
About an industry that we love so much and that we're in. And we really hope that we can just teach you something, make you laugh, make you cry. No, I mean, not really, but.
I mean, my goal is to make you cry. I don't know about Nadia's goal.
Who doesn't like a good cry every now and then? Who doesn't need a good cry?
I love it. We love the entertainment industry. We're both actors, creators,
Yep.
And welcome to the show.
Welcome.
I think it'd be a great place to start to learn a little bit about us. What do you think?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of people that we know that probably don't know much about us.
That's right. So if you're just tuning in and never seen us before, or if you know who we are, you're about to get the dirt.
You're about to get the dirty dirt.
All right, babe. Tell me your story. You were born
in Los Angeles, California, in downtown, and
in LA Hospital, right?
Yeah, well, it's California Hospital.
Oh, I was wrong.
Is there sound effects in this thing?
I'm sure
just
there
kidding.
is.
We just can't find them. Say something.
Say something. There it is.
Never mind.
We'll figure that out.
We'll figure it out sometimes. Oops.
California
Anyways,
Hospital.
Yeah, California Hospital.
I knew that.
Was born downtown to, at the time, two immigrant parents.
That's right.
That are from Nicaragua.
I love the way you say that.
I am Nicaraguan. And yeah, I grew up out here. And so what are we doing here? I'm like telling you my history.
Yeah,
like
sure.
How or just what?
Yeah, so I know you. I just want the people listening to know you. So you started off in LA.
Yeah.
LA proper, in the downtown city area.
In the hub of LA.
In the hub.
DTLA.
Then you moved to
The awesome 909.
the 909. If you live in San Bernardino right now.
Yeah. Then you know all about Bakers and Rosa Maria's.
Those are restaurants that I'm just now learning about.
Yeah, they're kind of more like fast food joints. I don't know if I'd really call it a restaurant, but okay.
From Alabama, we call them restaurants.
Okay, awesome. So anyway.
Any place that has French fries, that's a restaurant.
Wow, that's awesome.
Love it. So you moved out east.
Yeah, so moved out east and pretty much grew up there from elementary school through high school. And then my family moved out to Florida which some of them are still there now. The bulk of my family is there now, but I, being the stubborn, strong-willed child, was like, not about that life. So I moved back to LA to chase a boy. And
I'm so glad you couldn't catch him.
Right?
Oh, for those of you who don't know, we are married.
Oh, yeah.
This is my lovely wife, Nadia.
We've been married for 2 years.
That's right. Almost
and
3.
Going on 3. Going on 30.
Going on 30.
Yeah. And so I pretty much grew up watching Sábado Gigante and like I Love Lucy and the Three Stooges with my dad. And, the occasional Saved by the Bell or like whatever. Anyway, acting wasn't anything that I really ever thought of was even a dream. It just is not something that was super encouraged where I grew up.
Yeah. Not many people really knew about the world. They just enjoyed the movies and the television.
Yeah, of course.
Stuff.
It's like, and to think we were like an hour away. So yeah, it wasn't until I came back. A funny story. So like I came back and I worked at a grocery store called Stater Brothers.
Ooh, is that the tagline?
That's kind of the little jingle at
Yes.
the end. And
I gotta go there.
It was hilarious because I used to get these awesome like customers coming through my checkout stand that'd be like, you should be a model. And I was like, yeah, I should be a model.
Babe,
and I'm like
right.
5 feet tall.
They're totally right.
Okay. Thank you, babe. I'm a whopping 5 foot nothing.
That's right.
And I was going to be a model.
5 feet's all you need, babe.
Yeah, I know. So, I don't even know how can't even remember how I started like looking into quote unquote modeling. I think this is like before like the internet was huge and you can just Google everything. But I somehow reached out to some hole in the wall talent agency and they signed me to basically model. And I never modeled. So unless like I did one awful shoot for Lowrider magazine, which
I love it.
listen, it's
so
one
fun.
Google away. Why hide it now?
That's right.
I mean, seriously.
It's still there.
I mean, literally, I tried getting it removed.
Yeah.
It just didn't happen.
I've reached out multiple times.
Yeah, it's not happening.
Still not going down.
Bye. Can you just go away? So that was the kind of one modeling job I had. It paid me like $500.
I love it.
But I will say with that, I would get a non-union audition every now and then for a commercial. Oh my God, a commercial. Or better yet, like a, what are those things called again? Those,
Industrial?
not
No.
industrial. Those like when they sell products.
Oh yeah, like a brand sponsorship or something like that.
Why can't I think of the name?
Brand ambassador.
No, it's not even that. Like that
thought I
sounds.
got it.
That sounds way cooler than
I
what it
thought
is.
I had it.
Infomercial.
Infomercial. Those were the
Infomercial.
things
So,
back then.
No, actually, I booked my first job that was non-union on the Man Show.
Wait, what?
Do you know the Man Show?
Of
With
course,
Adam
yeah.
Carolla?
The Adam Carolla show.
Oh my gosh,
What was your gig on the Man Show?
I was a trampoline girl. Yeah, I jumped on a trampoline in a swimsuit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Baby, we got to find that footage.
No, we don't.
Yes, we do.
We don't.
We got to. If you're
but-
out there and you're good with Google, can
No,
you find
you
that
will never
footage?
find it. I will kill you. But no, so yeah, anyway. But then I got a couple of like other small auditions for like music videos and like commercials. And I was so nervous. I was like, like what's a slate? Like what, how do you, and I just asked a girl in a lobby once, hey, like, do you know of any good acting classes? I maybe should take one, maybe. And she gave me a couple names and I took some hole in the wall class, which is closed now, but in Studio City, called Richard Brander's acting school. And I sat in there and watched a couple people do a couple scenes, and I just like started bawling because it was the first time that I had fallen in love with the craft of acting.
Yeah.
I always loved movies and I always loved TV shows, but it was the first time that I had actually was like, this is a thing.
Yeah.
And I got bit like hard by the acting bug. And then, I kind of started, but it was like, didn't know where to go, didn't know what to do, spent thousands and thousands of dollars, got into like so much debt trying to get headshots and this and classes. And anyway, I was always in and out, and it wasn't until about 2009 that I kind of had to make that decision to like really pursue it if I was going to do it for a living.
Yeah.
And the rest is history. It's been, awesome. And it's been cool to kind of see a lot of things in the industry has changed. They've changed from when I first started to like now. Like podcasting, what? Like who would have thought? Like
we're doing a podcast.
It was
now.
like, I'm gonna wait for my agent to call me with an audition.
Yeah.
And hope and pray that like you just got one. And things are different now. But that's kind of my history as to how I ended up here, and a little bit about
Acting
growing
world.
up. Yeah, and how I ended up in this crazy town of Hollywood, California, of pursuing
The land of dreams
broken dreams.
and beautiful ones.
Yeah.
So that's your story.
Yep.
And your boy is from Alabama,
Yep.
down south, Sweet Home Alabama.
But initially you were kind of in Pensacola.
Yeah,
And also
yeah, we kind of bounced around the southeast. I was born in Georgia. Don't remember it.
Hotlanta.
Hotlanta, close
It's
to it.
getting hot in here,
Uh-huh.
so take off all your clothes.
I did, and I left, and I went to Pensacola, and that's where I grew up in my my developmental age, right, through elementary school. And then I moved up to Birmingham, Alabama. Shout out to my peeps from Pelham High School and from the youth groups that I went to and all those friends back east. But anyways, I was in Alabama. Always loved movies. Like from as early as I can remember. Like movies and music. That's what drove me. I remember I would sit in front of like a stereo and I would listen to a song that was so emotional. I'd be crying at like 7.
Oh,
and I'm like, what do I have to be crying about? But there's just something about music and movies that just moved me. And so, but I always kept it inside, you know, and it was my thing. And I would enjoy it with friends and stuff like that and quote movies to the day is long. But it was always like something that I kept quiet about what I was interested in.
But did you ever think like, oh, like I'm gonna go make movies in Hollywood? Never thought
that I would at this point. I always thought it as the furthest dream away. Like I always thought like it would have been so cool to be able to go to LA. And then I was playing sports in high school, and I was playing football, and I got too many concussions, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah, this brain is a little broken, but that's okay. That's what makes me, right, babe?
Yeah, that's what I love. They call it quirky, don't they?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That's what's up. But I got too many concussions and got pulled out of football. And, you know, at the time, I was kind of devastated. Because I thought, oh, maybe I can get good at this football thing, and that will be my, you know, trajectory out of here.
So you were like, I'm going to go be an NFL player?
Yeah, I definitely probably wasn't going to be an NFL player, but that was like the thought at the time. I had so many thoughts at the time, babe. You have no idea.
I love it.
I just always had these thoughts. But what was cool is getting to my senior year of high school, I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to do this acting thing. I would go to all the shows. I would sit in the back by myself. I would watch movies nonstop. I'd be able to quote them with my friend Jordan. We quoted Dumb and Dumber for like as long as I can remember.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was just a whole lot of fun. And my brother and I, Phil, we would make movies growing up. So it was always this passion. I thought, you know what? I'm just going to audition for the High School Musical. This was before the movie.
But did you know that you can sing at this time?
No, that was another thing. At this time, I always sang. No, actually, at this time, I had sang in choir. So,
which, by the way, guys, Preston has a voice that it's like butter.
Oh, stop.
Like, really. He has an amazing voice. He's a singer. At first, I thought that's what he was as a musician, but it turns out that he can do both, right? But yeah, so anyways, we'll talk about that later.
Thanks, babe. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so at this time, I was singing in choir, so I had some confidence singing. But before choir, I always sang to myself. I would never sing out loud or anything like that. But
I would sing out loud, but people would just ask me to stop.
That's not true, baby.
Whatever. Okay, go ahead.
I'm in high school. I try out for the High School Musical. I had never auditioned for anything in my life at this point, and I was super nervous, over-prepared. And it ended up going pretty well. I ended up booking one of the leads in the musical. It was the best experience. I remember showing up to if you're outside of this industry, this film, television, acting world, looking in, just to give you a brief rundown. Usually, whenever you get booked on a stage thing, you work on the script together as a team. Like you have time to memorize everything. Right, and you work out the show together, and then by the end, by opening, hopefully it's all ready, and everyone's quote unquote off book, meaning off. They know all their lines. I showed up day one, knowing all of my lines.
Overachiever.
I thought I had to. I sincerely thought like, oh, if I don't learn all of these lines, literally no one was off book except for me. Fast forward months of rehearsal. On literally like the week before show, there was this common practice of like, you know, if you don't know your lines, you would go, line. You would just say the word line, and then someone else in the play, or usually someone who's following along on script, would read you your lines so that you can continue either blocking or learning the stage directions. Right. And so I had seen this happen for months. And I'm like, one day I just forgot like my lines, and I had like I said, I'd known them from day one. But one day
What happened?
I don't know what it was. Maybe I was feeling too loosey goosey, and I was like, you know what? I can just ask for help. And it was like literally a couple of days before opening, and I say line, and you can hear a pin drop.
Why?
Literally everyone was silent, and I was like, did I do something wrong? And I got reprimanded. The drama teacher was like, this is the week before opening. We don't do that anymore.
You're like, hey,
you
man,
should be off book.
You could have given me the rules ahead of time. Who knew that I couldn't say line a week before?
I was like, whoops. And I ended up knowing the line. I didn't need it, but I guess I just wanted it. Anyways, long story short, I digress. I got in the musical. I fell in love with it. And then that changed the course of my goals.
You didn't just get the musical.
No.
Didn't you like get the lead part?
Yeah, well, the musical had an ensemble, so it was like 4 characters were the lead.
Okay.
And so I was one of those 4 characters.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, first audition.
First out the gate.
Listen, that's better than I did like the first 4 years of like being out here like hustling every day.
Hey,
what?
It wasn't followed by much success, but it definitely sparked something. And then from there, I went to college, hated it. And saw something for Disney World. And I was like, you know what? I want to go work at Disney World. And I went and auditioned to be Goofy at Disney World. And
that's right, everybody. I married Goofy.
That's right.
Don't hate. Don't hate the player. Hate the game.
Listen,
okay?
If you got it, run with it.
Don't sip on that haterade. Anyways.
So you married Goofy. But what was cool is I did that for a little bit. And then I went back home, saved my money, did as much acting as you can do in Alabama, and try to put my own stuff together. And then eventually made the move with a friend of mine. And we moved. Literally, we knew nobody. Never met anyone from LA. We had never been to LA.
Right.
And I packed my Chevy S10. It was my brother's first truck. And I packed it with everything that I had and a lot of things that I couldn't fit, right? And then we drove, a week to LA with not enough money. And we get here, and it's a crazy story. We'll go into it one day. But we get here, and I land, and thus proceeds to be what I would call the dark ages, because I was here on the outside looking in. So if you imagine, like, the thing that you've dreamt up most, I want to be in movies, I want to be acting, I want to be creating movies or whatever. And then you get here and you realize that, I have to work most of the time, and then there's no time for acting. And then the acting that you thought is not at all what the industry is like. It's a very long-term game.
For sure. I think, and that's one of the things that, I mean, we'll get...
we can go now.
We'll continue with your story, but it's one of the things that I think we loved, and when we were like trying to brainstorm, we have a brand new baby that we're trying to keep alive.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
And he's amazing, and he's almost a year old.
Yeah, can you believe it? We almost did it.
Oh my gosh.
After a year, they said you can turn it in.
He's actually sleeping I will never turn that baby in.
No, he's too cool.
But he's amazing. And it's like we're trying to figure out what can we be doing creatively and kind of just to like get plugged back into the industry, and if you feel disconnected. And one of the things that like really sparked up is like everybody's journey, and it's like kind of talking about like being here but feeling like it was the dark ages, because I guess some people come here and they're waiting tables, and like a week they get some crazy opportunity, but that's not really a lot of the people that I know, their journey. Right. A lot of the people that I know, it's a marathon, like they say. It's not a sprint. So it's also, I think this podcast too will hopefully also help industry people, for sure, if you're in it, whether you're writing, directing, producing, acting, whatever, but also like the family and friends of those people that are in here and in Los Angeles or in another state doing acting, because it's kind of like an acting trope when they make fun of things where everybody's like, so did you book a job yet? So are you on a TV show yet? So like my mom would always tell me, so did you audition for Telemundo yet? Are you on a novela? Like, no, Mom, I am not on a soap opera. Did you go apply yet? It's like, no, you don't go apply. So it's like, it's every actor will have that grandma, that aunt, that uncle, or that mom or dad that's constantly asking, like, so are you on TV yet? It's like, no, I'm working a crap job that I hate.
Yeah.
And thanks for asking and reminding me. But like, and it's not their fault, but it's like a lot of people don't understand the industry, and it kind of demystifies it. So, we have this little tagline that's like, from starving artist to overnight success.
Yeah, with quotes.
Which is like, oh my God, where they come out of, like, out of nowhere. They're just like everywhere now. And it's like, my mom is like, how come that girl, you're prettier than her? It's like, Mom, okay, that's not how it works. And
well, one, you are. Whoever she is,
no,
you definitely
stop.
are.
But seriously,
Two,
it's like, but yeah.
Dude, most people are in it for 10 years.
Or 20. Talk about like
10, 20 years before you see them on a main thing. And it's like, that's so not talked about, to where when you pack your bags, you move here for the dream, and then you get hit with the reality that the dream is going to take a while.
And I mean, we've read books, Jenna Fisher has an amazing book that talks about that, and everybody's journey is so different. And also just to kind of understand it, it's like, this is an all-encompassing type of podcast where it's like, no business like show business. I had an acting coach once say, like, if you want to act by yourself, then basically like go do something somewhere else. But like acting, it's like, it's part of a community. It's you don't do this by yourself, and you need a team of people, you need a village, you need people supporting you and a support group. And it can feel lonely because it's also a competitive industry, I guess, if that's how you see it. But I kind of feel like, there's so many aspects of like how this business just even comes together, from agents and managers and directors and producers and writers. And I just hope that this kind of demystifies a little bit of that for people in it, and also people wanting to learn more about it and just understand it more.
Yeah. No matter where you're at currently in life, if you're interested in telling stories, or you love to watch stories be told, that's the goal, is to peel back the layers. And
because there's nothing like like hearing about that like overnight success, but you don't have any idea what they went through.
Yeah.
And even just like, the starving artist and everything in between, because then you also have just your, like what would maybe be considered your middle class working actor. That's like, where then you get involved with like union stuff and contracts, and kind of like the person that's just trying to make a living, whether it's through voice acting or through stunts or through like, performing dancers. And it's really amazing when you think of it, and kind of beautiful, but also just like so intricate.
Yeah. There's so many more pieces to this puzzle, than just the movie that you see. One of my favorite stories about you getting into the biz is you specifically, the JCPenney headshot shoot. Can you tell everyone about that?
Oh, Lord Jesus. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my gosh. Okay, so this is awful.
You got to tell them what it was for first.
I will. So one time, very long ago, I thought a good friend of mine who's a dancer, and you know who you are, would appreciate this, Dom. I thought I was going to audition, or I said, hey, you know what? I should try out to be a Laker girl.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, I've seen halftime shows. I mean,
you can do that.
I can do that. Like, I cheered at my high school for 3 years, and I know how to dance. I have rhythm. I mean, I'm soy nicaragüense, right? So I can move it and shake what my mama gave me.
I've seen it. You can.
And
You're a good dancer.
I mean, I think I got a flyer that I found on the street that said like tryouts for Laker girls.
This was pre-internet. This was like you found out everything via a flyer.
Flyers. Yeah.
So you paid attention.
I guess
back
I'm dating
then.
myself, right? But it said like tryouts Laker girls. I don't even know like if the address, the date, the time. I can't remember now. But it said 8 years of minimum dance required. I was like,
you got that.
I've been dancing since I was like 4.
Yeah.
In my living room.
For your parents.
For my family.
Yeah, you got it.
To Madonna.
That's what they mean. When they say 8 years, they mean that you've kind of danced because you like it occasionally
And you're kind of good, and you can
Yeah.
shake your ass all day
Love it.
long. And
That's what they
I
mean.
can do the robot and the
Ask
snake.
any professional dancer.
Of
they'll
course,
tell you.
right? Oh my goodness. So I was like, I had a friend of mine at the time who I was like, girl, you want to go audition to be a Laker girl? And she was like, yeah, girl, let's go. So we both
That's
went.
called an enabler.
That's called a good friend. She was like my ride or die. And she was actually my boyfriend's sister, my ex-boyfriend's sister at the time.
I was about to say.
So anyway, we decided we needed, they were like, you need an 8x10 headshot.
Yep.
So guess pictures. I mean, where else would you go but J.C. Penney? So
Hello.
I went to J.C. Penney and got some headshots.
Awesome.
And they were awful. Like, I don't even know what I was thinking. I had the worst blonde hair that was like super bleached out and like crunchy. Like,
for those who are just listening in audio, Nadia has brown hair. If you're seeing on YouTube, you know this. But if you're just listening to the podcast, that's a bit of backstory you should know.
So, yeah, I'm a brunette, and I wanted to be blonde for a long time because, you know, my mom's always like, blonde hair is so pretty. I'm like, thanks. I don't have blonde hair. Thanks. Okay, bye. But anyways, with that said,
We'll have to get into that later.
well, that'll be a different story for another episode. But yeah, so we went and got these headshots. And so we drive to El Segundo, which from Fontana, which is where I was living at the time, is hella far.
And to paint a picture, if you are in LA, you get it. If you're not in LA, just to give you an idea, the southern part of California isn't large in its like physical dimensions. Like it's, you know, from where she's talking, we're only talking about maybe 50 miles or 60 miles. But when you factor in the amount of traffic that's just in every turn, like even in side roads,
It's
the amount of
bananas.
traffic, it's like that. Let's say your commute is 5 miles. That 5 mile commute turns into a 30-minute, 40-minute drive.
Like, how does that even happen?
It's crazy.
I literally want to punch people every day. But like,
So you're driving from
so-
Fontana.
which is even further. So we drove, and we thought we were the bomb.
You are the
Like,
bomb.
no,
You got your
like,
J.C. Penney
seriously.
headshots.
I got no, and we were supposed to wear like dance attire.
Yeah, for the
I
audition.
freaking wore a boy short bathing suit. Like, I went and got these boy shorts and a bathing suit top, and that was my outfit. Yeah, and like,
gets so good.
I don't even know what I wore for shoes.
It doesn't matter. That's all you
It
need.
doesn't. I don't even remember.
You got
But
the experience. You got the headshot.
listen, I'm a dancer. I was a cheerleader. I love my high school. Woo Cajon High School.
Oh, yeah, if you're from Cajon.
But I remember, like, we had it. Basically, we had for one of our pep rallies, we had choreographed a dance where we pulled out dollar bills out of our skirts and started like swinging them around.
In high school.
It was in high school. It was
Wow.
pretty ghetto fabulous, and I freaking love everything about it. Like, I ain't even gonna lie. So so that just to kind of give you an idea of where like I grew up. It was awesome. It taught me everything I need to know about life. So yeah, so we show up.
So you're
and
driving. Are you both
No,
in
we're-
bathing suits?
I don't remember what she wore.
Okay.
It's still a nightmare to me to what I wore. I think I'm traumatized. So we were in this long line of these like girls stretching in the splits.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn. And like, they're like, oh my God. So like, this is like my third year trying out. I think I just need to try the Lakers because the Clippers, I mean, just dancing for them these last couple of years has just been really exhausting. And I need a break. Like, I think I need to change a pace. And I'm like, damn. Like, these girls,
Oh, they meant that
like-
kind of 8 years of
like,
dancing.
they dance for the Clippers now. And I'm like, we got this. I'm like, girl, we
You're
Latina.
there.
We
Yeah.
Latina.
You got it in your rhythm.
We got this. Okay. We did not got this. We did not got this at all. We went in and I'm so short. And these girls were like 5'7", maybe a couple of short ones, but not a whole ton. I
Yeah.
was lost in a sea of legs,
Awesome.
like kick spins. They're like, all right, and 1 and 2 and chasse. I'm like, what's a chasse? What's a chané? I don't even know. I'm like, I'm going left. Everybody's going right. And then it was like, I felt okay though because nobody could
Yeah.
really see me because I'm short.
Yeah.
And then
Blend in.
But then they start like saying, okay, you're number 1, you're number 2, 3, groups 1 through 8 come out. And it's like literally, it was an SNL sketch. Like straight up, like there was no hiding it. Like there's thousands of girls watching us. Like 8 girls at a time go. I almost slapped some girl in the face with my freaking arm because I went the wrong way and nobody cared. It was like, there was no doubt that they were like, okay, you can go home. You stay. Anyways, my friend got cut. I got cut. Like, I mean, and then I remember, remember we were like, okay, so we're going to tell everybody that we made first cuts, but then after the first cut, they cut us after that.
Yeah,
like,
that makes sense.
Like, who cares at this point? Like,
you got to save the pride. You got to do it.
Listen, yeah, I don't know. Like, even just learning choreography is like no joke. So all you dancers out there, I give you mad props.
Yeah, for real. Especially in the audition world. I had an audition. I've only had one dance audition in my life, and it was for Disney. It was fun. I got it, but it was not fun. It was crazy because they also, I didn't dress up in my swimsuit. But
you didn't wear boy shorts?
No, I didn't. But
awesome.
I did. In the audition, they were like, "Where's something you can move in?" And I was like, "What is that? Like jeans? Like, just walk around in?
Just leggings?
Shorts? What does that mean?" And so I was like, "Oh, there must be like a dance element to this." And I'm like, "Ooh, okay. I'm not a dancer, but I always loved dance, and I would do it for fun."
But you didn't Google it? You didn't Google to see what dancers wear?
I did, actually. I didn't, I guess Google was newer, and so I didn't have the thought of, oh, I don't know this. Let me supplement that knowledge. You know what I mean? I was like,
let me fill in the gaps here with a little Google.com.
So I did end up wearing like what you would consider pajama pants. like 1,000%. If I was out anywhere else, they'd be like, "Why are you in your PJs?" You know what I mean?
We were meant to be.
I know, it's perfect. So I go to this audition. We had to drive to Atlanta at the time. We were in Birmingham, and my parents took me, and they were so kind to take me. And everyone was like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? And so I get there, and I'll go in, and there's a room full of, as you would put it, real dancers.
Dang.
Like, doing the stretches with the leg over the head, and we're talking about the dudes are doing that, and I'm like,
pointed toes.
Like, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a thing. And so I literally I find a friend in the audition, and one friend. I'll tell you, it's a really interesting story because he was a great friend. So I met him there in the audition, and we did our thing, and very similar. It felt like I was extremely exposed, like people were like, I'm going to teach you this 8 count, which for dancers out there, that's not even a lot. Like, it's not even like we were doing crazy stuff. We were doing like, show tune stuff. Like, what is it called where you do the box square or,
I have no idea. Don't
like
ask
real
me.
easy dance, I guess. Considering what all these other people like could do, you can tell that they can do. So I did it
in their sleep.
Did the audition similar to what you were saying. They put you up in like a panel of like 1 to 8, and for us it was 4, and so there was 4 of us in front of everyone auditioning.
Were you all like auditioning for Goofy?
We were all just auditioning for parts, and then what your height was, you got.
Got it.
And I didn't realize, what was really funny is I did not realize that they were also looking to see if you were considered what's called a face character. And a face character for Disney World, if you know Disney, is the people that actually use their real face rather than are in a costume. So like Aladdin, Jasmine, like Aurora and the princesses,
Cinderella,
and the princes.
Snow White, yeah.
And at the time, I was almost 300 pounds, so that was like
he was
out for me.
I'll be in a suit. No, babe,
I was close to it,
I'm
but
sure you were still cute and chubby.
Hey, I was some chubby ball spinning for sure. And
I love it.
So I do this and I feel really exposed, right? I'm sweating too much, right? I'm sweating in my PJs. I just did, my first dance I've ever learned. I leave the audition room. I did not know that they were looking for face characters. I guess I was in my own little world, scared to death. And so I walk out and I open the door. And as soon as I open the door, there's Jasmine in full Jasmine garb. Like they were testing her out to see if she would like fit the character.
Right.
And literally I was like, oh, literally made that noise because.
Is that a Goofy noise?
I guess maybe that's what got me the role. But Literally, I was never so embarrassed because it was one of those roles, or it was one of those moments where it was like an awkward, like middle school boy sound.
Right.
Right? I was just taken off guard. It wasn't like she was like overly attractive or whatever. I was just like, Jasmine, you know what I mean? Like, hi, whatever. Good to meet you here.
That's so strange and awesome at the same time.
I know. I think she even got it. I don't know. She looked like Jasmine. But fast forward, remember my friend?
Yes.
So when I signed up to do Disney, there's literally a program where you can sign up and thousands of people go and get hired for Disney World, and you work for a short period of time. They call it the college program.
Right.
It's a pretty cool program, but what they do is they basically pair you up with other people in the program.
Right.
That buddy from the audition was paired up randomly as my roommate.
That's awesome.
Not only in my apartment, but in my room.
What?
I know, the odds are so, and we're still great friends. I text him every year. He texts me for my birthday.
Oh, that's
I text
awesome.
him.
That's awesome.
And our the three of us that live there, we're still buddies to this day.
But
Ben and Vincent, they're great.
But guess what?
What?
There was what's awesome about your story is you actually got the part.
Right? Oh, yeah. Oh, babe. Wah, wah, wah.
Whatever. All right. But anyways, that's awesome. I mean, but
Yeah.
but you were talking about dancing. You had to learn to dance, and
Had to learn to dance.
didn't you teach yourself how to dance from like YouTube or something?
I did after that. So I got it, but they rate you as a performer, which is like, all right. They rate you as like, you're this good at animation is basically without talking, and then you're this good at dancing. And then they have another one for puppeteering. But I got rated, there's multiple ratings, but it's color coordinated. So the top rating is red. The like so-so rating is yellow, and then the lowest rung is green, right?
Got it.
And for animation, I got red, and for the dancing, I got yellow. But each color also has 2 tiers. So I was the first tier of yellow,
Okay.
right? And in order to do the parades and shows, it's very foggy now. But you had to have either the second tier or you had to reach the.
You had to be basically better than where you were.
I had to be better than where I was. I can't remember the specifics now. If you're out there and you know the specifics, DM me, correct me, whatever. So I was like, I got to get better at dancing because I wanted to do the parades and shows. That's what the goal was, not just the meet and greet. But so I would go in outside of my apartment. There was a outside/inside racquetball room. Half of it was covered and half of it was uncovered. It was weird, but it was a racquetball space. You can actually go in and close the door behind you. So I took my computer and I went down there and I would download YouTube videos on how to dance. Like I would watch High School Musical. I would watch
Zac Efron.
Bless
Learn
his
from
heart.
the best.
Yeah, learn from the top tier, right? And trickles down to us, And so I'm literally in a racquetball room, like 2 a.m., trying to learn how to dance so that I can, upgrade my skills. And I will never forget, I was trying to learn a handstand.
Oh, Lord. By the way, Preston is 6'2", for those of you that don't
yeah.
know. Imagine him doing a handstand at 6'2".
It was crazy. It was hard, and I didn't do it well. But I was practicing, and I went up. I'll never forget. I was like playing like real cheeseball music. I'm a big music fan, but I have some like music that I'm like, this is my jam, and that's like High School Musical. Like that kind of stuff. And
I've
so
never
I'm
seen
jamming.
High School Musical.
No one's perfect, babe. I'm jamming to High School Musical. And I mean real loud for my computer, and I'm in a handstand with my feet up against the wall, and my face is pointed towards the door, right, the way in. A security guard comes busting in with a flashlight, right, and he clicks it, and it's like hits my eyes like a raccoon, where it's like your eyes are all of a sudden like glaring bright and stuff. I'm like, whoa! And he's like, what are you doing in here? Like you're upside down.
Yo, man, get out of here. Can't you see I'm trying to do a handstand?
Upside down. I'm still upside down. And I tell him, I'm practicing dancing. And he literally was like, no, man. And he just closes the door and leaves. And I'm like, yeah. So, and then I upgraded my skill set, and the rest is history.
And Then you made it. Then you made
Yeah, I
your way
was
out to
able to do.
California.
Yeah, I was able to finish the contract. Then I went to Birmingham. Was a waiter for a while. Shout out to J. Alexander's.
Awesome. That's the one job I've never done. I try to get a waiting job in LA, but that's like literally like a needle in a haystack.
You guys, it's actually really crazy out here.
I actually lied about like job applications. I made up addresses and like restaurants. Maybe that's why I never got hired. But nonetheless.
Wait a minute. There's a common theme. The flyer says 8 years of dance experience.
Hey, listen.
Plus or minus.
You got to fake it till you make it. You got to figure it out. But yeah.
But no joke. They're like, if you get hired as a waiter, you get hired as a busboy first, and then you got to like do a 2-year probation period.
It's where at J. Alexander?
No, here in LA.
It depends. I mean, if you're like waiting
depends,
tables at like Olive Garden, maybe not. I mean, no judgment. Like if you're waiting tables at Olive Garden, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Or you know what I'm saying?
It depends on the restaurant.
Sure, if you're at Nobu or something like whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever. Anyway.
That's crazy. I can't believe you never got a waiter job. It's like that.
No, I was a cocktail waitress at the Laugh Factory for a couple of years.
That's right.
And that was awful.
Oh my goodness.
I hated every moment of it.
Didn't you almost get in a fight with that lady?
Yeah, well, that's for another day. I had a little bit of a temper. I had a little bit of a temper in my 20s. But I was there for a while. And honestly, the best thing about that was probably the friends I made working there at the time. And it was just long hours. And then I was a trainer in the morning. So I was like getting up at 5 a.m. to like go teach a class. And
that's another part of our story we can talk about. That Nadia is, in her past life, she was like a really top shelf personal trainer.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about top shelf, but I was a trainer for a while.
I consider you top shelf.
Well, I did train you, and you lost 90 pounds.
I did.
And so
that
was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I was a trainer for a long time too. I mean, that's part of the hustle and grind of being out here is like finding flexible jobs that you can either do really early in the morning, late at night, or that you can
somewhere
have
in between.
some flexibility for scheduling. And I feel like I've done it all.
If you're in this world, and you go through this, you understand. But if you've never experienced auditions, they come in randomly. Like
they can day of.
Like for instance, today we're out and about, and Nod gets a text from our agent that says, "Hey, you got a call back tomorrow." Like it can be that quick, and it could also be weeks of nothing.
Yeah, and the thing is that one of the things that makes it really difficult, I feel like in this town, is it's so expensive to live here.
Yes.
It's like you need steady income unless you got some sugar daddy or you got some like rich parents somewhere, which that's not the case here. But
you got a sugar daddy in me. I got a tight knit on.
I got me
the
like
faucet.
a stevia daddy. Like you like sugar free.
I'm light sugar.
You sugar free. You sugar free.
Hey, I'm better for you.
I don't even know what that means, but basically it's all good. I don't even need a sugar daddy.
Is that the kind that causes cancer?
No, it's not. That's Splenda. Stevia is natural, but it's
I'm
not.
like, oh yeah, I'm the kind that causes you cancer.
No, far from it. But you do. You need that flexibility, and you also need to freaking pay like a 1-bedroom apartment that's like almost $1,500. I mean, I'm sure you can find cheaper studios, and being a female, it's like you want to be safe. So, I mean, just certain areas when I first was out, I'm like, I'm not going to live there. I'm trying to like make sure that I
stay alive,
survive. Or you can get a bunch of roommates, which I also have done. But it's one of those things where sometimes it's just you just can't handle one more roommate. But yeah, it's like having the flexibility because you have to pay your rent. But then guess what? You're also taking acting classes, and them are not cheap, y'all.
No, they're not.
They're expensive. And then guess what? You got to kind of look good sometimes.
Yeah.
There's all these things that like that you don't factor in. So, it's a thing. It's like, talk about the starving artist. It's like, I have friends living out of cars sometimes. I have friends that are like living in a 2-bedroom, 4 girls, like 2 in each room. And it's like people do what they got to do. And you kind of do got to do what you got to do because it's like you have to be available for these auditions. And I think that was the hardest thing for me when I first started was I had 3 jobs where I really wasn't acting or really doing anything for acting consistently enough, whether it was class or whether it was auditioning or having a good agent. For me, it was like I had to work so much just to survive and live.
Right.
that the artist part of it had to take a back seat for a long time. And it wasn't until I had to really say to myself, this has to be a priority,
Right.
that I actually started working, and actually being able to make a living as a working actor. And it's been 10 years.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's still some areas of the industry I would love to tap into, which are the TV and film. And, you know, I do a lot of commercials and have worked in commercials for a long time now. And it's, you know, it's its own little thing. But with that said, I think that that's also, in the time I've been doing this, you see people come and you see them go.
Yeah.
It can become discouraging. And that's where
They say every year over 1 million people move in and out of LA, which is crazy to think about.
And it's crazy. And, you know, the truth is, I mean, now in the age of internet and social media and whatever else, it's like, you know, sometimes on different platforms, you can kind of be creative and be an artist and a storyteller elsewhere, which, you know, we're hopefully hoping that we'll have like a little couple episode arc about that, about, you know, doing this thing in other parts of the country, like other states. But, you know, for now, it's just really...
Stay tuned for that episode arc.
Stay tuned. But yeah, it's one of those things where you can find yourself discouraged of like the things that it's an expensive industry, and maybe it doesn't have to be. That was my experience. To kind of get into, because if you're thinking of it as like, okay, I had a teacher once tell me it's show business. It's a business. It's not just, you know, performing. There's a business side of it, and you have to have a savviness to it
to be able to have a longevity in your career.
Well, yeah, it's like marketing. You have to know how to market yourself, brand yourself, save, how to promote. I guess that's all the same thing, but like how to get better at your craft, whatever it is that you're doing. How to network. There's so many different...
How to get your things seen. There's so much pieces to it that the artistry part often feels like you don't get to do that as much.
You don't. And it's almost like in the beginning, you don't. So you have to find ways to be able to do that, or else it just becomes miserable, because you're like, you
grasping at straws.
Yeah, it's just, but you know, it's also, and this is why we're kind of doing this, because it's like you have a little bit more control over what your career, and awesome if you can get an audition and you can get in that room and you know, tell that story and explore that character or whatever. But it's going to be really interesting to kind of hear all the different stories of the different people that were like a quote unquote starving artist, and you know where they're at, what their path was, and just different things about the industry that we can learn from. I mean, it's a business. There's always things that are constantly evolving and constantly changing. And I think, you know, it's like, I guess you can be a staunch like artist, and it's like, I had friends that were like, I am never going to audition for commercials. It's like, I'm not going to drive all the way to Santa Monica. But it's like they would quit because it's like they wanted to just do the meaty acting parts, but then it's like they didn't want to take into consideration that, hey, you can book a really great commercial that can make you decent money, where you don't have to work that like job that you hate. I mean, not to say like I wasn't working jobs I hated even while I was doing commercials, but I'm just saying, it's just, you have to realize that there's a business side to this, that you have to have a savviness to, or else I think it just makes it that much harder.
And I think also it's important to learn to love that aspect of it. You know, and we're learning, to be honest with you. If you're listening, we're trying to figure this out. That's why you listening this far is really exciting, and we're so thankful for you who have made it 50 minutes in to our podcast, you know, because we have huge dreams for this year. Yeah,
we have like amazing, just me being in this town for as long as I've been in this town, and whether it's through training or through auditions or program or diversity programs that I've been a part of, just networking and like seeing that every person plays like a piece to all these things that we don't even see. To me, it's like, it's going to be exciting just to share those tidbits with you guys. And also we want to learn with you, because I mean, I feel like every day there's something new, there's something changing. And, you know, I remember a couple years ago being that actor that was like, when everything started coming out with like, make your own content.
Yeah.
And I was like,
everyone's like, do your own thing, make your own thing.
I was like, I'm sorry. no, I am not a writer. I am an actress. Like, I didn't come out here to write. I didn't come out here to go shoot little videos.
Yeah.
Like, I came out here to like tell stories. It was just like a super, just like hardcore.
You had a hard line back
yeah,
then.
it was just, and then I was so like, I had people telling me like, you need to try this and you need to go try some stand up. You're hilarious. You need to. And I'm like, that's crazy. That is so crazy. I remember like I had an acting coach that would always just give me these comedy
Scenes?
like scenes for class. And I was like, this is when I really first started. And I wanted to go in there and do like meaty, like just super intense, like I'm crying on the floor. I come in drunk and stagger into the room. Like just these like amazing pieces of material that I would see my classmates doing, but I would always get these like comedy. And at the time I was like, hey, I went up to him and I was like, hey, John, so I'm kind of thinking we should like change things up because I feel like you keep giving me these like comedy pieces and I'm just like, I really want to do some like real like acting, like meaty, like, you know, obviously that's like my ignorance of like being young and like immature and like not knowing. And he was like, actually, like you're really funny and this is kind of what you do, like you're naturally great at this. And I'm like, yeah, but like I want to really do like what Sandra did, like she, like I was like, he's like, and really at that point I started like trying to like, not to say I can't do those things and that, you know, we can't do things, but just kind of finding that wheelhouse and embracing like what comes natural to you and embracing that. And I think that, you know, a couple of years ago I started writing comedy and really loving it and creating my own content that I did with a friend of mine that we did like a web series together, kind of like a web series together. It was amazing. And it was such an amazing process to learn and to watch her and just to see how people like strengths. And I learned a lot about my weaknesses and what I could be better at. But with that said, I feel like there's things that are constantly changing. And I almost feel like that's part of the biz.
Yeah.
And if you don't,
that's part of it.
You can either grow with it or you can stay behind and just complain.
That's true. And it's tempting because we're creatures of habit. I mean, if I go to the same restaurant 100 times, I personally eat the same thing. Why? I know. And my wife is trying to generously help me to see the benefit in trying new things. But that's saying, like, we when we figure the business is so crazy, this whole acting world is so crazy that it's like when you find something that quote unquote works, right? You're like, well, let me just hammer at that, you know? And then when someone's like, oh, that's not what's in now. Now it's this other thing. Now you got to be doing this other thing. Then you're like, oh, and you shift all your energy. When you do that too many times, it's like you get jaded and you just want to, like, I just want to do this. I just want to get in on this level.
Well, it's doing what you know.
It's doing what you know. And it's like, there's so many, the tide has changed in the world of television, movies.
Streaming, the way we're watching television, the way we're consuming it. It's just all of it. It's just so different now.
It's the Wild West, babe. It truly is the Wild West. And I believe with all of my heart, which is why we're doing this podcast, why you'll be seeing some YouTube videos from us coming out. I believe that the way of the future is what everyone's doing, which is I got to create my own stuff and I got to reach out to people who like what I do and touch their lives and then expand and build from there. And that's really the goal of all of this, is to be educated, to learn from other stories, to share cool stories with you guys, and to build something. Yeah,
but it's also like an amazing opportunity to be a team and to like have a team, to make it a team effort.
Exactly.
And you know, I think that's one of the things that, you know, when we were talking about, well, what should we do? It's kind of hard, y'all, like to keeping it real with like a baby. I mean, it is, at least for me. It's like,
what do you mean, babe?
It's like that inner struggle of like, but I want to cuddle with him all day because I want to smooch his face. But also to be motivated to get up and like do something creative or something for your career. And it's like, you know, when we were talking about all this, it's like, okay, I feel like I need a creative outlet. I want to be able to do something, you know, I wanted to get back into the audition game and, you know, do some more writing and, you know, go do some open mics and stuff like that I've been able to do and kind of explore things that I've been afraid of for my whole life. And it's like, okay, well, we need to evolve. Like as people, we are constantly evolving. Well, I hope we are anyway. Learning, growing. Hopefully evolving, growing, you know, the hard stuff. But I really feel like I feel like I want to talk about this industry to kind of just like also continue for us to learn and grow from like our peers and from other people that are making decisions that we have no idea what the process is like. And even just to be inspired by like, you know, with social media and all this nonsense, sometimes it's like everybody's highlight reel.
Yeah.
And you don't see like their struggle. And it's like, it just seems like, man, like they just have all the opportunities. Like they have all the luck. Like how come, I mean, you know, I'm sure you guys don't do that, but I know I do that a whole lot.
I'm sure you guys do it perfect.
I'm sure you guys never compare. But I know for me, like, it's just, it's like literally, it's like a shit show in my brain. It's like, oh my gosh. And then you put pressure on yourself. And then as a woman in this industry, it's like, you know, you feel like time is ticking and you should have made it by a certain time. And it's just really, that's kind of hopefully all going away. At least we're fighting for that to be the case. So I just really wanted to like explore just people and like their role in this industry, what their role is in this crazy art of show business that we have, that we call Hollywood and all that.
I love it. And if you're tuning into the YouTube, which if you're listening, we're going to be posting this episode also on YouTube, so you can hop over there if you like to see things.
Yeah, I mean, and by the way, I forgot there was a camera on me the whole freaking time, and my contacts are so dry, and I'm so tired. Today I had an audition, and we had doctor's appointments. Yeah. So anyways, I've been like doing this for like the last hour. My eyes are dry. Sorry. And
that plays into exactly the setup here is we're recording after our beautiful little boy falls asleep.
Yeah.
Because we are new parents. I know we talked about having a baby, but it's just 10 months ago that we stepped into the world of being parents.
In a one-bedroom apartment.
We got 2 dogs. We got, I mean, we're really living the dream.
We're like in a little sardine can in here making it happen. But hey, you know what?
We're thankful. Is happening. We're thankful.
And we're making it happen. And if we're in our tiny kitchen doing this podcast, hoping that we can teach y'all something, entertain you guys a little bit, and also just, you know, continue to learn about our industry that we love so much.
What more can you ask for?
Yeah, man.
And you know, something I was thinking of as you were, you know, wrapping up the story of you driving hours wearing a bathing suit, going to JCPenney, going to an audition underprepared, having that experience, and then driving home, and then what's led you to now. It's like, that's what gets me excited about this. I want to hear those stories from our guest. I want to hear the times that, you know, they were sitting in, you know, a restroom for hours because that's the only place they can be. You know what I mean? Because of this business. There's so many stories like that that are so unique and so difficult. And
hopefully encouraging. I mean, the truth is, it's like, it's such a thing that we feel like we have to hustle constantly.
Yeah.
That like, I think we don't stop. I know for myself, I have very few moments where I actually stop to really think about even just doing this podcast right now, this episode. You know, I've been feeling really down in the dumps lately because it's kind of like, man, what am I supposed to be doing? Like, I'm not doing enough. And what do I, you know, whatever, all this stuff. But, you know, it's really interesting to recap all of that. I think it was good to kind of remember where I came from.
Oh, yeah.
I remember this moment where I went in for an audition for Bones. I don't know if you remember the TV show Bones.
Yeah. That was a big show.
Yeah. And it was so funny because I was on the lot and I was walking in these crazy heels and this like whatever outfit that I had on, this like little dress. I was playing this like ghetto Jersey girl or whatever for the audition, and it went amazing. And they brought me back for producers, and it was really great. And but I will say, I remember my car had got broken into the day before.
Okay.
I was at a hiking, and somebody saw me put my purse in my trunk, and I went to go hike, and then I came back, and my window was broken in. And God. I like did not have any money to fix my window, and my purse was gone. Everything was gone. And I had to go to the audition the next day and drive with a broken window, and it was raining, and I had water coming into the car, and I was getting wet. And I was like, ladies, I'm sure you feel me if you like, especially if you have curly hair and then you straighten it, and any little bit of moisture is like, what the actual beep. And like, I was driving, and anyway, I got there, and I took a moment, and I was walking on the lot, and I thought to myself, I would have never thought that I would be on a lot in Hollywood where they have shot some amazing film and television, going in for a TV show that is national, like people see everywhere. Yeah. And it was honestly one of those moments where it was like, I came from like this ghetto fabulous town of like San Bernardino, like downtown Los Angeles. Never thought acting wasn't ever even a thing. But then you take those moments for granted. Yeah. Like now it's like, oh, what am I doing out here? It's like,
I got to go to Paramount.
Oh my gosh. Or it's like, but just because, you forget.
Yeah. And hopefully with this podcast, we're not going to forget, because we're going to keep reminding you guys our story, other people's story.
Yep.
Hey, this is great.
Catch you the next time. I got to go feed my baby.
I got to go watch.